First, thanks to everyone for waiting patiently. Good morning and welcome to all of you. Governor Cuomo, thank you for being with us today. We look forward to hearing from you in a bit. Over the last few days on Grand Island, we've been talking about the last time a governor came to Grand Island for an event like this, and no one could ever remember it. If it happened, I'm not sure, but I can tell you what, this is a very special occasion, and we're very grateful for the governor's presence. The governor's leadership has built a stronger New York State and a stronger Western New York. Like many, I'm one of the ones who came back to Western New York to be part of its rebirth and resurgence. And every day I'm grateful that I'm home and to be part of this. If you look out behind us, how beautiful it is here. When I was gone, I would tell people I'm from New York State, and they would often think of Manhattan and skyscrapers and the Statue of Liberty. But New York State is much more than that. The Empire State is much grander. Stretching from Montauk to Grand Island, from Manhattan to the Adirondacks and beyond, this place has so much to offer and is so very beautiful. Today is a great moment for all of Western New York, not just Grand Island, but for Tonawanda. We have the Tonawanda mayor here, and for Niagara Falls, for Buffalo, and for even Ontario. The changes we are here to talk about today did not happen because of partisan politics or because one side attacked the other. They happened because we had people who were willing to listen. We had a governor who was willing to talk. And they happened because we built strong local relationships with local leaders like grassroots leader Brian Michelle, who's in attendance today. And because we had a governor who was humble and open enough to listen to the concerns of a small town supervisor. Our region is in the middle of a renaissance. Grand Island is proud to be part of it. The economy in Western New York is stronger than it has been in generations. There is a sense of optimism, of vitality, and a hope that's returned. Together and under the leadership of Governor Cuomo, our Queen City, Buffalo, as it's long been known, and Grand Island, the heart of the Niagara region, and our entire region will continue to strengthen. Because make no mistake, New York, the Empire State, needs its queen. With that, I want to begin. We're going to have a couple acknowledgments of the leadership that's here today in attendance. Thank you to Governor Cuomo again, to Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul, to New York State DOT Commissioner Matt Driscoll, to Empire State Development President and CEO Howard Zimsky, to New York State Senator Christopher Jacobs, to New York State Senator Robert Ort, to New York State Assembly Member Angela Morinello, the City of Niagara Falls Mayor Paul Dystra, to Niagara University President Father James Mayer, and Zoe Ford Captain of the New York State Thruway, David Denzi. With that, I want to welcome a close partner of Governor Cuomo's administration, Department of Transportation Commissioner Matthew Driscoll. Thank you.
Well, good morning, and thank you, Supervisor McMurray, for that. Give the supervisor a big round of applause, please. Great job. He's doing a great job here. You know, today is a really big day. I mean, it's a really big day, because today we're taking an important step forward to improve the transportation system in and around Grand Island. 80 years ago, Governor Herbert Lehman marked the opening of the South and North Island Grand Bridges. The bridge replaced the need for residents to use the ferry behind me in order to access the island. And it also created a faster route for visitors traveling between Niagara Falls and the Queen City. Today, I-90 through Grand Island remains a vital economic driver and a vital transportation artery for communities, commuters, tourists, and commerce, with nearly 24 million crossings a year. Think about that. 24 million crossings a year. And it's one of the most heavily traveled roads in Western New York, and it serves as a gateway to both Niagara Falls and to Buffalo. But as you all know, growing traffic has resulted in sometimes paralyzing backups at the Grand Island toll booths. For the 1.5 million commercial crossings every year, these delays translate into cost. Why? Because time is money. Trucks coming to and from Canada crossing either the Lewiston-Queenston Bridge to the north or the Peace Bridge to the south already have an unavoidable delay at the border, and they shouldn't have to face another delay at Grand Island. We also see about 65 traffic accidents each year as a result of drivers navigating the Grand Island Bridge toll plazas, causing injury and leading to even more traffic jams. Today, recognizing the needs of the community and the economy, Governor Cuomo is stepping up for Grand Island and for the millions of people who rely on the bridge. I'm excited to announce that we will be implementing cashless tolling at the Grand Island Bridge crossings to streamline travel on the bridge. I told you it was a big day, and this is really big news. It's a transformative technology that uses sensors and cameras that are suspended over the highway on a structure called a gantry. It reads the car license plate or the Easy Pass at virtually any speed, although we're not suggesting you do 90. For non-Easy Pass vehicles, a camera records the license plate and a bill is mailed to the registration of the vehicle owner. Cashless tolling is a proven system. Today, the MTA is currently in the process of implementing the system on all of its 7 bridges and tunnels downstate. And the system has already saved 860,000 hours in total drive time since January. Think about that. Think about the efficiency, 860,000 hours. On Grand Island, it's going to do well here. We'll eliminate 2 toll plazas and build 2 new gantries, implementing the first cashless tolling technology anywhere in upstate New York. You're the first. On the South Grand Island Bridge, we will eliminate the northbound toll plaza and build a gantry after the bridge, enabling traffic to flow uninterrupted. On the North Grand Island Bridge, we'll remove the southbound toll plaza and add a gantry further down the road. In total, we expect that drivers will save 200 plus minutes on their commute each year. Businesses will be able to ship their goods more rapidly, and tourists will be able to arrive at the world-class destinations throughout the region without having to worry about traffic and getting stuck in traffic at the tolls. Environmentally, this project will also improve air quality here in the community by reducing consumption, idling, and emissions. It's going to do a lot for the environment too. Grand Island cashless tolling will be operational in March. It's a game-changing investment in the region that really reflects, as the supervisor said, and I think all of you know, the transformational work that's underway here on Grand Island and throughout Western New York. And there's still more to come. It's my pleasure to introduce my friend and colleague, Howard Zimsky, who's president and CEO of the Empire State Development, to tell you yet about another exciting development underway here on Grand Island.
Thanks, Stu.
You bet, man. All right.
Hello, everyone. Great to be here in Western New York, see all your smiling faces. I have to apologize because my hair is really bad even when the wind is really good. And when the wind is really bad, it's just embarrassing. Anyway, I want to congratulate Matt Driscoll because with cashless tolling, Matt is the odds-on favorite for this year's Commissioner of the Year award. Well, tourism is big business in Western New York, as you know, and anytime we can talk about tourism and the promotion of tourism, it's a good day here in our region. I want to just put some context to what we're here to talk about and just remind you of some of the many investments the governor has made in tourism in our region. And here we are right in between Niagara Falls on the one hand and Buffalo on the other hand. So let's just talk Niagara Falls for a second. Investments in the Robert Moses South to reconnect the city to the waterfront. Investments in the Robert Moses North, reclaiming over 140 acres of green space, the largest expansion of green space in Niagara Falls in over a century. over $1 million of investments in the restoration of the gorge, the ecological restoration of the gorge for generations to come. Tens of millions of dollars of investment in the state park, in Cave of the Winds, in Terrapin Point, Three Sisters Island, Luna Island, Maid of the Mist, Cave of the Winds. It has had a huge impact on visitation in Niagara Falls. And the state park visitation is up to 9.5 million last year from 8.7 million only a couple of years ago. 7 new hotel projects, including Hotel Niagara, just recently announced about a month ago. It has been an unbelievable and very purposeful investment strategy that the governor has undertaken in Niagara Falls, which plays such an important part of our tourism economy here. Investments in Art Park, investments in the aquarium, it never stops. Since 2011, based on our strategy that he empowered us to develop, the governor has been behind tourism in Niagara Falls every step of the way. Outdoor adventure tourism in Niagara Falls, more heritage cultural tourism in the city of Buffalo. What do I mean? The Inner Harbor, the Outer Harbor, Lockport Locks, Jamestown Comedy Center, the Albright Knox, the Birchville Penny, the Richardson, Frank Lloyd Wright's Martin House, Frank Lloyd Wright's Grey Cliff, all the amazing art and architectural and historical treasures in Buffalo and Western New York, combined with outdoor adventure tourism here. Let me tell you some of the impact this has had. In Western New York alone, over 18.7 million tourists visited in 2016, up 15.5% since 2011. 58,000 jobs are affiliated with tourism in the Western New York economy. 58,000 jobs in Western New York. We're here to talk about the visitor center to my right, and again, perfectly positioned between the investments in Buffalo and the investments in Niagara Falls and throughout Western New York. You can see that the design is evocative of Frank Lloyd Wright and tells the visitor that architectural legacy is important to tourism here, but it also celebrates Niagara Falls, and it celebrates all the attractions of Niagara Falls. And it promotes all the tourism assets throughout the region. As you can imagine, over 1,100 tourism assets in the greater Niagara region is on our I Love New York app. It also has an amazing array of amenities. It has children's play area. It has a pet area. It has satellite police. It has a community room, electric vehicle charging stations. It'll have a Taste New York store promoting made in New York goods and delicacies. It will be educational, informational, and it will be recreational. It works synergistically with the I Love New York app, which promotes, again, 1,100 attractions in this region. And it works synergistically with the road signs that you have seen that promotes the amazing assets of Western New York, parks, Taste New York, I Love New York. Do you know that since the road signs have been put up, downloads to the I Love New York app are up 400%. 400%. Having great world-class tourism assets is of great fortune to Western New York, but it becomes even more incumbent to promote tourism when you have the assets that I have just listed off. So the next generation Welcome Center will bring, again, more people to understand the tremendous benefits and the assets that we have and they can enjoy. Well, I want to say in closing that it is more rare than a solar eclipse that you will have a governor who has empowered this region to reclaim its economic future. And not only to empower us to develop a plan the way we did, but gave us unprecedented resources that none of us could have ever imagined, and unprecedented across the state. It is so amazing, and everyone here knows the single highest priority demonstrated now since 2011 of this administration is Western New York economy. So with that, I want to take the opportunity to introduce the greatest friend that Buffalo, Niagara Falls, and Western New York has ever had, Governor Andrew Cuomo.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Another great day in Western New York. A tad windy, but it's a good wind. It's bringing good things. It's my pleasure to be back. First to Howard Zimsky. He's been such an asset for the entire state, but even more for Western New York. He knows it so well. He has such a love for Western New York. He has constructed a plan and been the architect of a plan that is truly brilliant. Let's give him a round of applause. Our fantastic Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul's with us today. Pleasure, Kathy. We have Matt Driscoll, who was introduced as the Commissioner of Transportation, which was right at the time that he was introduced. But a press release just went out. We're moving him up and over to the Director of the New York State Thruway Authority. So congratulate him on that. Supervisor McMurray, this is the first cashless tolling in upstate New York. And people are going to say, well, why is the first cashless tolling in Western New York? It will then feed that sentiment that we're biased towards Western New York. They got $1 billion, everything goes to Western New York. So it'll feed that bias. The truth is that we think it's the first application because it can do the most good. And the truth is also that your supervisor made a very powerful and intelligent case on how the toll booths were a negative and how we could turn it into a positive. He articulated it well. He is a brilliant fellow with a great background, and he made a great case, and the state of New York heard it and listened and responded, and we're here today with these cashless tolls because of Supervisor McMurray, and I just want to say that. I want to thank my colleagues from Albany who are with us. Ask them to stand. Senator Chris Jacobs, Senator Robert Ort, Assemblyman Angelo Morinello. Stand up, guys, and let them give you a round of applause. Thank you for today. City of Niagara Falls Mayor, our partner, Paul Deister. Pleasure to be with you, Paul. Father James Marr from Niagara University. And John Majori, who does all our work for Western New York in the governor's office. Give him a round of applause. You know, it is another great step forward. And it's another milestone in the journey that we've been taking together. We charted a new course for Western New York and for the state. My colleagues in the legislature and I had many discussions early on that we had to do something about the economy. We had to do something about the economy in upstate New York. And that the first step was fixing the problems that the state was creating. And the state government was creating problems. Number one of the highest tax states in the nation. and you keep raising taxes and taxes and taxes and taxes, and what you're going to do is you're going to force people from the state. And we did. And we saw businesses move, we saw young people move. Second thing that happened on the state side was they were blind to the needs of upstate New York. I don't say that with pride, but I say that with truth and candor. Why? Because the dominance of the legislature is from downstate New York. That's the simple truth. About 80% of the legislature is from downstate New York. And their natural bias is to do for those areas that they were elected from. And the elected officials from upstate New York are always pushing against the tide. We changed all that because the truth is that upstate New York needed the help more than downstate New York. The truth is having a strong economy in upstate New York also helps downstate New York. And the truth is we had to get our state spending under control because if we kept raising taxes, there was going to be nobody left in this state. That was the truth. And we did exactly that. We brought down taxes by bringing down state spending. We now spend less per year as an increase than any administration in the history of the state of New York, believe it or not. All those stereotypes, Democrats, Republicans, the Democrats like to save money, the Republicans like to be fiscally conservative. Well, I am a cheap Democrat. Spending under my administration has only gone up 2% year to year. That's lower than Republicans George Pataki, lower than Republican Governor Nelson Rockefeller, lower than any governor in modern history. We got the spending down, then we could cut taxes, and we cut taxes all across the board. Corporate tax rate is the lowest it's been since 1968. Middle class tax rate lowest since 1947. Manufacturing tax rate since 1917. Then we put on a property tax cap because that's the tax that is really a killer. It's not the state income tax, it's the property taxes, and we capped those. So we got the state taxes under control. We've been investing in upstate New York. Proud to say that we have invested more money in upstate New York than any administration in the history of the state of New York, believe it or not. And that's righting a wrong from years ago. And the smartest thing we did, which is what Howard referenced, is we said to the different regions in upstate New York, you know what? You have to plan your own economic future. We can't do it from Albany. There is no one-size-fits-all business plan. And every region is a little different. And what works on Long Island may not work in Buffalo, may not work in the North Country. So you come together, Western New York, and you develop a business plan that works for you. As the state, we'll be your partner and we'll invest with you, but you have to bring in the private sector, you have to bring in the academics, you have to bring in all the local politicians and get them in one place and come up with one unified vision. And that's what this Buffalo Billion's been all about. That's what the Regional Economic Development Council is all about, bringing the region together, unified, to develop their own business plan for the future. And a smart plan. We learned from the past. You can't just rely on one industry anymore, because that industry changes, that company picks up and leaves. What we see all across upstate New York is one company leaves, devastates the entire region. Kodak, IBM, Bethlehem Steel. Now we have a diversified economy, right? So you look at our plan in Western New York, build on the base. General Motors, General Mills, Sumitomo Tire, Build on the academic universities. UB stronger than ever. Invest in the technologies of tomorrow, the medical center, and advanced manufacturing with now these new medical devices. Invest in the economy of tomorrow, which is the clean energy economy. And that's what Tesla's all about. And invest in an engine that we know works, which is tourism. Now, upstate New York was, because it didn't get a lot of attention from the state, nobody knew about it. Nobody knew how beautiful it was. Nobody knew all the assets and attributes we had in upstate New York. So we've been telling the story with the I Love New York campaign. We invested over $70 million in advertising I Love New York, showing what's in upstate New York, and it is now a $100 billion industry. Tourism is up 16%. Almost 60,000 jobs in Western New York are related to tourism. And we have just started to scratch the surface. You know what you have to do to generate tourism? You have to promote yourself. That's what tourism is about. People should come see us in Western New York because we have a great sense of history, we have great architecture, we have a lot to see. My father used to say, if you don't blow your own horn, there's no music. You want tourists to come visit, you have to blow your own horn. And that's what the I Love New York campaign is all about, and that's what this Welcome Center is all about. You're coming across the bridge, you stop, and here's all the things we have in Western New York that you didn't even know about. Places you may want to visit, a whole array of possible tourism activity. And the second thing is, remove the obstacles that make it hard to get there. And the toll booths are an obstacle, period. They are an obstacle to tourism. They're an obstacle in the quality of life, right? No good thing happens at a toll booth. It is a stress creator in life. Whatever line you get on is the wrong line. And then you have to go through that consternation of, should I change lanes? But now it's late because you're locked in. And now if you try to change lanes, now that's an aggressive act on the other lane. So it creates stress for the entire day. It's delays, it's traffic. It is unnecessary. We have the technology. Employ the technology, move the traffic, make it faster, make it safer, make it better for everyone. And that's exactly what we're showcasing here on the Grand Island bridges. My last point is this. Over the weekend, I ran into a doctor who wound up downstate because his wife needed to move to get next to family, but he had just come from Buffalo. And that came up in conversation, and his face lit up. He had been here for 16 years, and he said, you would be amazed at what they are doing in Buffalo. Which was kind of funny to say to me, but you would be amazed at what they are doing in Buffalo, and his face illuminated. And my heart illuminated what they are doing. He was exactly right. He was exactly right. For so many years, Western New York was almost depressed. There was nothing that could be done. All the politicians had plans and nothing happened. All the politicians had promises and nothing happened. And more businesses moved and more young people moved. And then what happens in 2011 with Howard Zimsky and the Regional Economic Development Councils, a fire gets lit. And that fire has taken hold. And Western New York is alive. It's in the numbers. Unemployment is down. Young people are coming back. Magazines rate it as the second most entrepreneurial community in the nation. It is a new Western New York. And it is a new Western New York because you are making it a new Western New York. You'd be amazed at what they are doing. I believe we create our own destiny in life. And you can either get up and shape your destiny and work against the odds and collaborate and cooperate, or you can sit back. Western New York is leaning forward, and they're making their future. And it is a bright one. And it is getting brighter step after step after step after step. And today is another great step forward. Thank you and congratulations.
Now, tell me that's not a leader. I mean, that is the message we need. When he came up earlier, when the governor came up earlier, he looked me in the eye, I immediately felt a presence and a confidence that you don't see often. And you can see it in his words. And I'm so thankful that he's leading Western New York and he's leading New York State. Thank you again to Assemblyman Michael Norris. I didn't mention him earlier. But I also want to thank all the people of Grand Island who are here today, all my friends and family. Can we get a round of applause for the people of Grand Island? The changes we're having on Grand Island are happening because of you guys and because of Patrick Whalen and Brian Mushell and all of you out there. And I can see your faces here, your smiling faces, Kelly and the whole gang. And Cindy, thank you so much for being here and all you're doing in Western New York. For too long, we have missed opportunities in Western New York. We put factories in the wrong places, we polluted land, we destroyed this beautiful region, and we forgot who we are. We are the land of dreamers and visionaries. We are the land of Wright. We are the land of Tesla. And we are reclaiming that vision and we are claiming that dream because we have the right leadership. And here on Grand Island is an island the size of Manhattan, 27 miles of waterfront between the world-famous Niagara Falls and Buffalo. And when I was overseas for all that time, anywhere I went, I'd ask people about Niagara Falls, and they talk about it as some dream space. And it is. It's a celestial, beautiful place, and we have it right here. And I just want to say thank you to all of us for working together. And I can see these good leaders in front of us here today. Let us continue to work together to make Grand Island great and to make Western New York and to make Western New York claim its place in our nation. So thank you so much. And if you want to get some lunch afterwards, we can go over to Dick and Jenny's on the island, or we can go over to the Village Inn. But thank you all for coming.